So today we will cover 3 scenarios. Our first scenario is that our site has received a new PO for our Dell computers purchased on the marketplace. We have received 2 laptops and 20 desktops. I will show you how you can scan your items in with your scanner, and then I will demonstrate to you how we can import our tags as well. In the second scenario, we have come across some laptops that were previously initialized into our site, and now we need to associate these to a purchase order. I will show you step by step how we can do so. And lastly, our site has purchased 2 new printers via our internal accounts, and therefore we must create a purchase order from beginning to end. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and click on the purchasing page icon. On the purchasing page, we can access all of our purchase orders pertinent to our site, past, present, opened, and closed. We have several columns we can filter to easily locate purchase orders we search for. Once we locate the purchase order we'd like to open, we will double-click on the purchase order. In this case, it will be our Dell computer order that we talked about, receiving from our purchase at the marketplace. You can double-click on the purchase order to open or click on the caret icon to the left. Once we have opened our purchase order, we can click on the Details tab to view information regarding our purchase order, including our purchase order number, notes relevant to the purchase order, our purchase date, and the status of the overall purchase order. Clicking on the Products tab, you can view all the items on the purchase order, and here is where we will begin to receive our items. Let's highlight the Latitude 13, which is our laptops. Again, we can click on the caret icon to the left to expand these items. Down in the right-hand corner, there are 3 actions we can take with these items. We can scan the tags into our inventory, import, or process a print ticket. In this case, we're going to scan our 2 laptops into our system. We will select the drop-down box to select our room. We will select the status of available. We have an image date field, which is not relevant to all product types, but there are certain fields that are required depending on the product type. In this case, it is the image date. And then we will scan in our tags and click Save. And scan in our second tag, or enter it in as I have, and click Save. Once we accept and bring in all of the products pertinent to this line, we can click Done. Now we will receive the remaining tags. The actions we can take on these 20 items, we're going to go ahead and import our tags. We'll browse our computer for an Excel file, click Import. The application recognizes all the fields on the report. Here we can select the matching columns to import our data. Click Validate. Once the report has been validated in the application, we can then click Finish. We do receive a message that we have finished. If we'd like to finish our import and confirm, click OK. And we have received all items on this particular purchase order. Now note, when clicking on the individual items, you do have a third action. This allows that once all assets are received, you can print a ticket that will provide you with a list of all the items received on this particular purchase order. This allows us to confirm that we have checked and chosen all items on this line item. Once we verify we've received all items and our individual inventory has been set to the status of closed, we will then go and click on the green edit pencil for the purchase order, and here we can elect to close the purchase order and save. That concludes our first scenario. In our second scenario, we have just come across some laptops on our site that were previously initialized, and now we need to associate these items to a purchase order. So in this scenario, we will enter in our tag that we would like to search and associate to a purchase order. From here, the tag information window pulls up. And once you have the tag information screen pulled up, notice that the asset in the source field, the status is in initial. This is telling us that it is not currently associated to a purchase order. In order to associate to a purchase order, we will select the green edit pencil and click on Associate to a purchase order. From this screen, we want to select the correct purchase order that we would like to associate this item to. In this case, we are going to associate it to our latitude order. You will select that particular purchase order, and it brings you to the Associate to a Purchase Order screen final confirmation page. We will see in the left column our purchase order details, and in our right column our product details. You can select the product line on the purchase order, and you can see the item available. Click Select. Also, under account code, you can also associate to a department as well, which you will then see there. You can click on the final confirmation icon and confirm the purchase order that you have then associated this item to. Once you have confirmed, click Go, as this cannot be undone. Now, looking at the tag information screen, the funding information field has been updated with the pertaining purchase order. We now have our order number available to us, as well as purchase order information has been updated. You now have access to the purchasing order icon That will take you directly to the purchase order we have associated this item to. This concludes the demonstration to show you how to associate a purchase order, a tag to a purchase order. In our next scenario and our last scenario, our site has purchased 2 new printers via our internal accounts, and therefore we will need to create our purchase order from beginning to end. So we'll start from the home page. Again, we will click on the purchasing icon that will bring us to our purchasing page. In order to create a new purchasing order, we will click the green plus icon to add a record. Because our items were purchased via internal accounts, the requisition number is required in the purchase order number. Here we will select a vendor, which if purchased in internal accounts would read internal accounts or board vendor. In this case, for training purposes, we will simply select Dell computers. You can select your purchase date and any relevant notes. Once you are done entering in this information, you will click Save to create your purchase order shell. In doing so, you can now enter in the products you would like to add to your purchase order by simply clicking the green plus icon to add a record. You can select your product number, and in this case, we have purchased printers. Select the correct item and your funding source, which would be internal accounts, but again, for training purposes, we will select none. We've purchased 2, and click Save. Once you've created the purchase order, now we will go back and receive and scan each of our items. Under our actions, we will click the Scan Tags into our inventory icon, select the room to which you would assign these assets in the status of available, and type or scan your tag. For this particular product type, a serial number is required and therefore must be entered, and click Save. For both tags that we have received. Receiving all items tied to the purchase order will close the purchase order automatically. If you'd like to go back and view your purchase order, click Refresh at the top right-hand corner of the screen, and you can select to show your closed purchasing orders and view them there. If you would like to review the CPS process for the assets received via donation and internal accounts, I have included the documents on the bottom page of our webcast. This does conclude the purchasing and receiving training for TIPWeb-IT. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Thank you for your time. Remember, you always have unlimited support with Hayes. Contact us. You can feel free to reach us at the 1877 number on this page or to email us at tipweb@cps.edu. Thank you very much.